YouTubers. I thought I would return to photography a bit, and the topic I want to cover is some of my photographs. I mean, we all spend a lot of time obsessing over gear. Maybe I shouldn't say all of us, but I know I do, and a lot of my viewers do because they come to watch my gear videos. But I also like photographs. Isn't that odd? So I thought maybe I would talk about some of the photographs I've taken over the last few years. And I'm going to concentrate today on my 100 Strangers project, which is coming along very slowly, but very surely. I think I'm on 64 or 65 out of 100. It's not a race, which is a good thing because I'm moving very slowly. So without further ado, I'm just going to dive into these photos. I've picked a few of my favorites or ones that I want to sort of respond to or talk about, and that's what I'm going to do. So here we go. So this was my very first. This is Stranger 1 of 100. This is Philip, and I caught him outside of where I work. I was carrying the Hasselblad. You'll notice that most of these photos are Hasselblads, or were taken with a Hasselblad. And the point of 100 Strangers is for you to get out on the street and take pictures of people you don't know, and also talk to them a bit, maybe learn something about them, tell them about the project, etc. On this, I failed. My first one, I was so nervous about approaching somebody to take their portrait that I didn't even get his name. And I was lucky later to find him in a restaurant nearby and remembered him and asked what his name was. So that's how I know his name's Philip. I'm happy with this photo. Aside from the fact it's my first one, it's got that punch that Hasselblad images often have. This is shot on Plus X film. And like I say, I like it a lot, even though it's pretty sort of average pose. I purposely had him. He's not standing in the street here. I had him stand on the sort of the ramp of the concrete uh, turn triangle, and I kind of wanted to get the crosswalk lines behind him. So I'm happy with it from that standpoint, and I'm happy with its technical merits. It's very sharp. I think this is with an 80 millimeter, the standard lens. So that's number one. Number two, shot on the same day, my first day of shooting 100 Strangers. I hit three or four. This was my second shot of that same day. This is Googie. He owns an Indian restaurant right across the street from where I used to work. And he posed for this photo, which I was happy of. And he strikes me very much here as the proud restaurant owner. One thing I want to point out in terms of technical in this photo is notice he has a white shirt on and it's a sunny day, and this shirt, that white is not blown out. The black rebate, that's blown out into the blacks, but the white is not blown out. That's one thing I love about film. It might have been a tough shot with a digital on a bright day like this with a white shirt. This is Plus X, just like the last one. What was this guy's name? I think it was Chris. Let me see. I could be wrong about that. Again, this is a photo on Tri-X, and no, his name is Sam. Same day, and I like the shot a lot. I kind of like the look he has on his face because you can tell he's not quite sure what I'm up to. I asked for permission. That is part of the project's rules. So he knew I was taking the photo, but you can tell he's like, "What are you doing taking my photo?" So I talked to him a bit afterwards. Um, Technically, kind of interesting photo because it's in shade and bright light, and again, this will demonstrate the dynamic range of film in that none of it's really blown out. This white t-shirt is not even blown out. One thing I don't like about the shot is I managed to get this brain sucking device over his head here. I guess it's not too bad. It's a little out of focus, but I just don't like the fact that he's aligned under that, and he's pretty centered. I might have done better to take the shot from a different angle. But still, these were my first three stranger photos ever, so I wanted to show those. Moving on, this is Terry, I believe his name was. Bob. Okay, I'm going to quit trying to guess names. This is Bob. And this also is a Hasselblad shot. A lot of these are going to be. This is on Tri-X, and on this day it was super, super bright. And I shot the Tri-X, which is 100, or it's 400 box speed. I shot this at 100 in order to try to get some shallow depth of field. I don't like, people have written me and mentioned this. Let me just say it. I don't like using neutral density filters. Maybe on a rangefinder it's okay, but on an SLR I don't like it because it makes the view through the camera very dim. And it's also an extra piece of glass on top of very nice glass. You put a piece of crappy glass. I don't really like that either. But on an SLR, it just doesn't make sense to me to put a strong neutral density filter on. So I shot the film 2 stops overexposed and then adjusted for that in development. And you can see that that works very well. I'm very happy with this exposure. Another thing this exposure shows is that a Hasselblad has a pentagonal aperture. So it doesn't make the prettiest aperture shape when it's closed down a bit. Okay, this is Patrick, and it might be obvious why I love this shot. I just love the grin on this guy's face. The jacket is crazy. He's got the mirrored lenses on. I show up in the photo. I don't know. It's just a cool shot in my opinion. And I also like the way he stands out from the background, which is fairly dark, and he's pretty bright, and there's a lot of detail here in the coat and so forth. This is Randy, I believe is his name. It's Jerry. I'm going to stop. I got to stop. Jerry. Now, this is not a traditionally good portrait. His eyes are kind of closed. But he was the nicest guy ever. And the interesting thing to me is when he posed, his eyes are open. If you look closely, you can see they are open. He's kind of squinting a bit. The interesting thing to me is when he posed, he did not look at me or the camera. He looked way over my head, and he's just got this kind of dramatic, statuesque look to him the way he posed. That's one thing I like about it. The other thing I like about it, even though you could argue that it is a little distracting, but I kind of like it. I just like all of the stuff around him. It puts him in a place. He's standing in front of his truck. He's a construction guy. He had all kinds of tools and stuff in here. I really wish I had thought to have him scoot over where one of these panels was dropped down. There were a bunch of tools in there. That would have been probably a pretty cool shot. There is just something stately about this photo. I can't quite put my finger on, and I can't really take credit for it. It just kind of worked out this way. This is Dave, and Dave is another portrait I took near my work. I tended, while I was working at this particular place, to just head out in the afternoon, around 2 o'clock, walk around, see what I could find, just take a walk around for 15 minutes or so. So Dave worked in the building across the street. He was out having a smoke break, asked if I could take his portrait, and he went for it. One of the things I like about this photo is it really shows off the way a Hasselblad achieves a 3D look in a photo. At least this one strikes me that way. He's so separated from the background, and the tones in his hair, the detail in his hair, all that. It just really shows off that 3D effect. There are others in here that are more so, but this is one of the ones that out of the 60 some I've taken that really strikes me that way. This lovely lady is Dimity. And I included this because first off, she's really beautiful. And I liked the fact that I actually didn't center her in this shot. I think it has a nice look to it. I think she would be happy with it. I wish I had a way to get her a copy of it. The other thing about it is this was in difficult light, and I had a leaky back on my camera, so it had a light leak. So I had to do quite a bit of work on this to get it looking good, and I think it came out pretty well. So I thought I would include it. All right, this is one of my very favorites of all. This is Brian, and this one has the 3D thing in spades. It's not going to come across that well in the video, but if you're looking at it in person, he looks real. I mean, the texture of his skin, his beard, his hair, and even the shirt and jacket, they look real. I mean, there is so much there. It's almost like you can feel the texture of the inside of his hoodie here. So this is a perfect example of why I like shooting Hasselblad cameras. And the other thing you see here, and you're going to see this in quite a few of these, there's a lot of sky, and that's because shooting a waist level finder with the magnifier, you tend to hold the camera up to your face, but you're not at eye level. You're looking down, so the camera is a little bit lower than most of your subjects, so you kind of, all your shots are pointing up a bit into the sky, and it really isolates the subject. So another one that where the texture just really pops right out. This guy's name is Joseph. This was on a really bright day. One side of the street is in total shade, or I should say open shade, and the other side you can just see how bright the background is. So as I switched from side to side, I did readings on either side of the street and just kind of memorized the EV setting. As I would go from side to side, I would change my EV setting on the lens to the appropriate setting. So these are kind of tough conditions. Super bright background, and he's in shade, and I believe I was pulling this film. Let's see. Yeah, I shot it at 200, and it's Tri-X. So in shade, that doesn't work out that well. Pulling film works really well when you're in bright sunlight and high contrast conditions, but in shade it doesn't work as well. So this photo didn't have a lot of contrast on Joseph himself, so I had to do some work on this one to pull it back. But in the end, texture is good, and again it has that kind of three-dimensional look that Hasselblad seems to excel at. This is Andre. This is on the same day, but this is on the sunny side of the street, except that there's some trees showing. There are some trees throwing some shadows here and there. Super nice guy. Look at the texture in his coat. It looks soft. I wish you could see it here on the screen or in a print. The texture is just amazing. So that's actually the last photo. I had picked out about 20, and I didn't want the video to run crazy long, so I did the first half. And I hope you like this. Let me know if you did or did not like it, and I'll do future videos based on that input. So, and also feel free to ask questions about the photos or technique or whatever, and I'll answer them in the comments or in a video if it's a good reason to do a video. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.